Good afternoon, fellow homesteaders, chicken lovers galore. Come on in. Welcome back, everybody. So this is just another edition on our homesteading side. If you have seen our stuff over on House Billings, welcome over here. If you're new in general, we rescued a bunch of animals for a couple of years, and then we wanted to get into the homesteading life. So that's kind of what we're doing here. We're going to be moving out of the cold weather. We're going to be going down south, buying a bunch of land down there. We're going to be rescuing animals, kind of opening up a sanctuary, but we really love the homesteading life. So hopefully you do too. Hopefully you'll join us on this journey. And today what I wanted to show you is kind of how to prepare, if you are up in the north where it's cold and snowy, how to prepare your chickens and ducks for life in the cold. I mentioned last time there is a way, because I showed you that the water freezes every day, but this is a heated water bowl, so really good option. I believe I got this on Amazon. I think it was like 25 bucks. It's not expensive. It's got a little plug. You're gonna plug it in. It runs very low amperage, so it doesn't cost a lot, which is good, and it will heat it up and keep everything warm. It works through most of it. I think if it gets like below 0, it's probably not gonna work, but for the most part, it will work on normal days. So we do have that. We didn't hook it up this year because it really wasn't that bad. It's been mild other than the past couple of weeks. Again, guys, don't mind the mess in here. I know it looks gross, but the chickens and ducks actually love it. One of the main things for winter to get prepared for this is making sure the coop that they're going to be staying in is well ventilated, but also insulated. Now, again, we are in the Northeast. It gets very cold here, but the chickens and ducks are very, very hardy. They are perfectly fine. They can survive the very low temperatures and not be bothered. But the one thing with them, the chickens and ducks, when they breathe, they let out a lot of moisture, which can create, if you're not careful, frostbite. So you need to have it well ventilated. So we got our window up here and we got their door down there. Now we did put insulation around it, but it still lets plenty in here. One of the things that we did, and I don't want to show you too much because it's really gross in here right now, but if you can see in the back there, we put a nice layer of insulation in there, and we put it on the doors as well, so it keeps it nice and warm. We got all the hay in there. You want to make sure you have a really good deep bedding for the winter. The insulation we grabbed at Home Depot, you get the whole roll. It was like 40 bucks, and it's perfect. You don't need to go and get your house insulation that's really thick. This insulation does plenty. Another thing that is really good to have, now even though they like being down here, they like to also have somewhere they can go and get dry. So that is why this little chicken run in here, again, it's not much, but it's perfect for them. They'll go in here, and we always replace the hay, which I need to do right now, but we'll replace that, and they'll go in there and kind of dry their feet off and sit in there for a while if it starts raining or getting really cold or snowing out. So they'll do that. Now, it's still freezing out right now, but there's a lot of sun, so everything is melting in here. So it looks gross, but they love it. You just missed a minute ago. Every single one of them was over here. Look at them, digging huge holes. They love to forage. They'll look for any sort of bugs that are here or old food laying around, stuff like that. I said this in the last video. Right now we're using the Do More. It's really good quality food. It has a lot of organic stuff in it. It's not fully organic. We usually recommend that. During COVID, it's been a little tough to find the normal kind that we use, but this is a good substitute for right now. It's easy to get. You can get it right at Tractor Supply. This entire 50-pound bag is like 16 bucks. Super important to always have plenty of food when it's cold. So good idea to always keep some scratch on the ground, keep them busy, keep them foraging. Again, it helps them stay warm if they're moving. And again, guys, it's really wet right now because everything is melting, but typically we have a ton of hay on the ground, ton of dry, so they're not too wet, but they're fine for right now because, again, it is a little bit warmer than normal right now. The other main reason to keep things dry in here or have a nice spot for them to get into, which is dry, is because they can get frostbite on their feet and end up having to get their feet amputated. So it is important, you know, and again, that's why it's really nice that this whole area where their water is has direct sunlight on it, because it does stay warmer over here. So nice little spot for them to get their water and to go in here or back into their coop. And two other quick things in here. For the winter, you want to make sure you have a deep bedding. So we have a mixture in here. We have wood shavings on the bottom and then hay on top, and it's a lot deeper than we would normally do in like the summer or spring. So it just kind of helps them stay warm in there. Over there, crazy, I took eggs out today, and there's actually about 8 or 9 eggs in there again. So I must have missed one, and then they laid all day. Do anybody has chickens up here in the north? Do your chickens lay during the winter? I hear mixed things all the time. Some people say in the winter they're not really laying much. It's funny, our chickens lay all year round. So really cool. We get eggs basically every day, which is awesome. So one thing with the eggs too, guys, just a little side note, make sure you're taking your eggs out pretty much every day. If they sit, especially in the cold, they can freeze and they can break, and then that can lead to all other issues. You don't want that. So make sure you're taking them in every day. We have a heat lamp lamp there. It's not on right now. Yeah, Benny thinks it's on. But we don't typically have it on. I will put that on once in a blue moon if it's really, really cold. We don't use anything in the coop itself. I have heard a lot of mixed things out there. I have had no issues with heat outside here, but a lot of people will say if you have like fake heating sources like heat lamps or heat generators or whatever in here in the coop, they can become too reliant on that. And then if it's not there, they can freeze a lot quicker because they're not used to it. So I really leave it up to you guys. I don't put anything in the coop. I want them to kind of get used to it and kind of get through the cold weather by themselves. Unless it's really, really bad, I have an option here in case they really have to. Especially if we're going through a snowstorm where it's going to be all day and they can't really get too dry. I like to put it in there and put some food in there so they can kind of hang out there for the day. Let me know down below if any of you guys use heating sources or have for years and kind of what the results have been for you guys out there. One other thing you guys can do, which is really cool, I've seen a couple people make them. We didn't do it this year because they do have plenty of spots they can go. But if you have a nice area like we do right here where the sun is always hitting, you can make what they call a sunroom and just make it a little area with something that will attract the sunlight, either, sort of like a greenhouse effect. Over here, guys, for anyone that has not seen our stuff before, this is our duck coop, our duck pen, whatever you want to call it. It does not get used much right now. So we mentioned briefly in one of the other videos, we did have 4 ducks to start. Unfortunately, right when winter was hitting, we did lose 2 of them to a fisher cat who got in here. Unfortunately, broke through one of the doors. It wasn't really secure, so it was really sad. But now we just have our 2 male ducks left. One of the ducks, which is a really crazy story, was hatched out by one of our chickens, which was funny. But I wanted to show you over here really quick. It's not getting used as much anymore, but I just thought it was super creative. It looks, guys, like a shanty. It almost looks like you would see kind of on the side of the street, but it works amazing, and they actually loved it while it was here. It gives them a whole place to kind of go and get out of the elements, so nothing can get in there. Now, one of the sides again fell because we haven't been using it much, but no snow or rain gets in here. This piece of wood goes right over on top of their little hut that they have in there, so they can kind of go in there. It was also keeping their water thawed, which was amazing. I wasn't even having to come out here and unthaw it. Just the black tarp, I guess the sun was hitting it perfect, so it was keeping it nice and warm. So they go in there, they kind of get out of the elements, and then they could come out here when they wanted to. They had an extra thing of water there, but again, no one's really using it. Actually, believe it or not, there are a lot of cats that live in the neighborhood, and I have seen a couple of cats coming out of there sometimes. So hey, if our ducks aren't using it, I guess it's nice that we're keeping somebody warm, right? So I mentioned we are moving down south. We're going to do a lot of things. One of the biggest things we're going to be doing once we get down there is building a whole duck, almost like a duck sanctuary. It's going to be a whole duck pond for themselves with a nice little hut for them to go in. We are going to be getting the boys some wives soon, which is really cool because I do think Jake's been a little lonely since the other 2 were taken. We are very connected with all of our animals, so it was a very hard night. I was up pretty much all night when that happened, and I just kind of was holding Jake and getting through it because he was pretty upset about it. So it's been rough, but again, make sure you guys follow along. I really hope you enjoy this stuff. The homesteading life is awesome. It's very rewarding, and there's so much you can do from it. One of the last things that I'll leave you with, guys, I don't know if you know this, but it's kind of crazy. Chickens don't have a normal stomach. They don't really have a stomach at all. They have something called a crop. And one of the good things to do is make sure to feed them right before they go into the coop to go to sleep. So it's really good to give them, corn or warm oatmeal, stuff like that. Baked potatoes really good too. And it just kind of fills them up and it helps them stay warm overnight. So especially on those nights that are going to be really cold, good idea to do that. Look at over here, see, they're all scratching. They love when it starts to get wet because everything kind of loosens up when the ground has been frozen for so long. They'll sit here for hours and just kind of scratch and go through and trying to find bugs. So always good, keep them moving. So hope you guys learned a lot here today. I love doing these types of videos, kind of sharing with you a few things that you can do. And again, everything we did today, I mean, it's super cheap and super easy to do. Awesome life. I love it. So hope you guys will stick around. A lot more to come, guys, with the homesteading life, with the chickens and ducks. And again, once we get down and get our land, it's going to be a lot more homesteading animals. We're going to rescue that horse. We want to get some pigs, goats, stuff like that. So make sure you stay tuned. And please, guys, send me some questions. Let me know what you want me to talk about or kind of go into. We're going to build all sorts of DIY stuff once we get down there. You're not going to want to miss it. We have some time before we get down there, so we'll probably start to build some more things here once the spring comes, which, guys, it's only like 20-something days away. I'm super excited. Make sure you send me some comments down below. Love the support, guys. Thank you on both channels. You guys have been amazing. I love doing this with you. You kind of got to see into our family life, and you'll see so much more. So as always, guys, stay positive.